Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Learn Social with Ram. I hope all of you are doing well. Today we are starting a very important chapter in class 9 Social Science and the chapter name is Democracy. This chapter is not only important for examination but it is also important for life. Why? Because democracy affects every citizen. It affects you, it affects me and it affects everyone. Now let me ask you a question. Who should have the power to rule a country? Should it be one king, a dictator, army, or the people? The answer is simple. In a democracy, the power belongs to the people. That is why democracy is called government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Today, we will understand what democracy really means. Let us begin the chapter. Before we start the chapter, let us try to understand the various learning outcomes we will be able to understand by end of the chapter. Firstly, we will try to learn the meaning and features of democracy, followed by the different types of democracy, direct democracy versus indirect or representative democracy. Then we will also try to understand the ancient roots of democracy in India in the form of institutions called Sabha, Samiti, Ganas, village assemblies. Then we will try to understand the democratic system in the world by understanding the differences between both parliamentary as well as presidential system with country examples. Then we will try to understand the various challenges to democracy in India. It could be inequality, corruption, casteism, illiteracy as well as limited participation. Why wait? Let us begin the chapter. First, let us try to understand what is democracy. Democracy is a system of government in which people have the power to choose their leaders and take part in decision making. Simple meaning, people choose who governs them. In democracy, citizens elect leaders. Leaders form government and government works for the people. This is the basic idea. But students, democracy is more than just an election. The three important words in democracy are: first one is democracy. It is nothing but a system where citizens elect leaders and participate in governance. The second word is justice. Justice means fair and equal treatment for all. Then the third word is participation. Participation means citizens actively taking part in elections, discussions and public affairs. Students, democracy is not just about voting once in 5 years. It is much more than that. Now, let us try to understand more about democracy. Democracy is a way of life based on values, participation as well as equal rights. This means democracy influences how people live together in a society. Democracy is not limited to parliament or elections. It is also about daily life. Let me ask you a simple question. Can democracy exist in family, school, or society? The obvious answer is yes. For example, in a classroom, if only teacher decides everything without hearing to the students, is that democratic? Obviously no. But if students are allowed to share opinions and ideas, that reflects democracy. That means democracy teaches us how to respect others, how to work together, as well as how to share responsibility. The very important idea here is democracy begins from our everyday behavior. So let us also try to understand what are the core democratic values which we will learn from democracy. The first one is equality. All the citizens are equal before the law. The next one is the freedom. People enjoy freedom of speech as well as expression. Then the third core democratic value is mutual respect. Citizens respect each other's rights and opinions. This is why democracy is not only a government system but also a way of life. Let's try to answer the two quiz questions. I want you guys to comment the answer below. The first quiz question: democracy means option A, rule by king, option B, rule by people, option C, rule by army, option D, rule by judges. The second question: which is a key value of democracy? Option A, equality, option B, discrimination, option C, monopoly, option D, dictatorship. And you can also write the answer for why is democracy considered better than dictatorship. Please do comment the answer below. Our next topic is, why is democracy the most preferred form of government compared to all other form of government? Why do most countries prefer democracy? Why not dictatorship? There are many reasons. Let us try to understand the reasons why democracy is the most preferred form of government. The very first reason is freedom. Yes, in democracy, citizens enjoy freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of movement. People can share opinions without any fear. And the second reason is equality. Democracy believes all the citizens are equal. There is no discrimination between rich or poor, male or female, or there is no partiality between any caste or religion. Everyone is equal before the law. And the very third reason is, we have the right to question the government. Yes, this is very important. In democracy, citizens can question the government. If leaders make mistakes, people can ask questions, and this creates accountability. The leaders will remain accountable. The elected leaders must answer to the people. And the final reason is, there is always the peaceful change of power. In democracy, governments can change peacefully through a process called election. So this avoids conflict. There is no violence needed. This makes democracy stable. Students, you should also think carefully that, is democracy 100% perfect? Obviously no. Democracy also has some challenges. Democracy, sometimes we see corruption, inequality, low awareness and participation of citizens, slow decision-making process. But still, democracy is considered the best system because it gives the people power and it allows for the continuous improvement. So you can expect a 3-marker question from this section where the question can be asked, why democracy is the most preferred form of government compared to any other form of government. Now let us try to understand the meaning of democracy. Democracy is a form of government where people choose their leaders through the process of election. The very key characteristics of democracy is, the people are the ultimate source of political authority, that is popular sovereignty. The next characteristic is peaceful transfer, meaning power changes hands without violence or conflict. The third key characteristic is representation. Citizens are represented by elected officials. And the fourth key characteristic is accountability, wherein the leaders must answer to the people who are elected by them. And to know the history behind the emergence of the word democracy, actually the word democracy comes from the Greek word demos, which means people, and kratos, which means rule. The meaning of democracy is nothing but the rule by the people. Now let us try to answer the 2 quiz questions. Please do comment down the answer in the comment section. Who defined democracy as government of the people, by the people, for the people? Option A, Gandhi. Option B, Lincoln. Option C, Nehru. Option D, Ambedkar. The second question is, government gets its authority from option A, military. Option B, rich people. Option C, citizens. Option D, king. And you can also comment down the answer. Can elections alone guarantee democracy? If yes, why? If no, why not? Please do comment down the answer in the comment section. Now, let us move towards the next topic, understanding Abraham Lincoln's definition on democracy. There is a very famous statement given by Abraham Lincoln which says, democracy is nothing but government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And this 3 forms the 3 aspects of democracy, and which is again a very important question for your examination. The question can be asked, briefly explain the 3 aspects of democracy with respect to Abraham Lincoln. Now, let us try to understand this very carefully. Abraham Lincoln defined democracy as government of the people, by the people, for the people. Now, let's break down each of them individually. First one, of the people. What is this of the people? Government gets authority from citizens. That means the power comes from the people. The second one is by the people. Leaders are elected by the people through a process called election. So here, citizens decide who governs the government. The third one is for the people. The governments work for the public affair. It's the goal is to serve the people. Simple and powerful definition, and this is very, very important. Now let us recall what all we have learned so far. Firstly, we learned democracy means rule by the people, wherein the people elect the leader, followed by democracy is also considered a way of life because democracy promotes equality and freedom. And democracy is the most preferred form of government because it gives the rights and accountability. Democracy is also not perfect but best available system. And Lincoln defined democracy as government of, by and for the people. We understood the meaning of democracy, but democracy is much deeper than elections. It influences families, schools, society, and government. Now, let us try to understand the broader meaning of democracy. This topic can be expected for a 5-marker question, where the question can be asked as briefly elaborate the broader meanings of democracy. And to understand this, we will be studying the 3 sections. First one is democracy as a form of government, democracy beyond government, as well as democracy as an ideal. Let's try to understand each section individually. We are starting with democracy as a form of government. At the basic level, democracy is a form of government. Here, the elected representative make decisions on the behalf of people. Step 1. First, citizens vote. Right? People vote in elections, they choose the leader. The step 2, what happens is the leaders form the government. So, winning representatives form the government. They take responsibility for governance. And step 3, the decisions are made. So, who are the ones who's going to make decisions? The leaders. The leaders make laws, policies, major decisions. These decisions affect people's life. And step 4 is accountability. This is very important. Leaders are accountable to the citizens. If they fail, people can remove them in the next election. That is democracy. People choose leaders, leaders govern, and people monitor leaders. For example, there are democratic governments include India, USA, UK, France. These are democratic countries. Now, let us compare this with non-democratic systems. For example, we have monarchy where the power is inherited by birth. We have dictatorship where it is one person rules by force. Then we have military rule where army controls the government. And we have oligarchy, which is small group holds all power. So this non-democratic systems is completely different from democratic system. So democracy act as a form of government by giving us the elected rulers, by conducting regular elections, by giving us a representative form of democracy, and by making sure there is a free and fair voting process involved. Now let us try to understand the second scenario, that is democracy beyond government. Can democracy exist outside government? Let's think for a minute. Yes, democracy can exist outside the government as well. For example, there are democratic values that can exist in families, schools, organizations, as well as communities. For example, in families. Suppose parents listen to children's opinion before making decisions. That reflects democracy. Everyone gets respect and everyone gets a voice in family. Correct? Same way in school. Suppose students participate in student election council, discussion, decision making. That reflects democracy beyond government in schools. A democratic school encourages open discussion. Then, let's say for example, a good organization values employee opinions, equal treatment, and shared decision making. This also reflects democracy in organization which is beyond the government. Then we have democracy in communities. In communities, for example, democracy means equal participation, discussion, and respect for different opinions. Democracy becomes stronger when democratic values exist in daily life. So this aspect explains us that democracy can be understood beyond government as well. Now, our last broader meaning, that is democracy as an ideal. Democracy as an ideal. What does this mean? It means democracy is not just about elections, it is also about building an ideal society. A society that is fair, a society that is equal, a society that is just, a society that is respectful. This is the dream of democracy, the core democratic values. So these are the 4 important values. The first one is equality, followed by dignity, justice, as well as participation. Now let us try to understand the 4 core democratic values in depth, starting with equality. Every person is equal. No discrimination can be done on the basis of birth, caste, religion, or gender. Everyone deserves equal respect. Now, the next core value is dignity. Every human being deserves dignity. Nobody should be insulted or treated unfairly. Then we have a core ideal called justice. Society must be fair. Laws must protect everyone equally, especially the weaker section. For example, SC, ST, OBC people, as well as the marginalized society. Then we have the next core value, participation. Every citizen should get opportunity to participate. No one should be excluded. Students, these values make democracy meaningful. So you can expect a question, which are the 4 core values that can be understood from democracy? Your answer has to be equality, dignity, justice, as well as participation. Now, let us try to understand the role of citizens in democracy. What can be the role of citizens in democracy? Because as we already learned, democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the people. So here the people are nothing but the citizens. So democracy cannot function without active, informed and responsible citizens. The strength of democracy depends on how well its citizens participate in public life. So let us try to understand, can democracy survive without citizens? Obviously no. Democracy depends on active citizens. Now let us try to understand the role of citizens in democracy. First one, the citizens should be active, meaning active in the sense they should vote, they should attend the meetings, they should raise the public issues, they should participate in the governance. So inactive citizens actually, they weakens the democracy. Second thing, the role of citizen, the citizens should always stay informed. They should read news, they should understand issues, they should know government policies, they should verify information, and informed citizens always makes better decision. And the third thing is, as a role of citizen, the citizens has to act responsibly. They should respect the law, they should respect constitution, they should respect the other rights, they should avoid misinformation. Always remember, the responsible citizens strengthen the democracy. So in democracy, you're the boss. Your vote, your voice, your participation all matters. Never think your role is small. Every citizen matters. Okay, so this can be asked for a 2-marker question. What is the role of citizens in democracy? Let's move towards the next topic. Democracy is a continuous process. Yes, you heard it right. So democracy grows through better laws, stronger institutions, equal opportunities, greater participation, as well as protection of rights. That is why democracy is called a living system. It evolves with society. So democracy is not a stagnant process. It is always a continuous process. It never stops improving, correct? So every day, democracy is never fixed. It is a living system that grows along with its people. And these are the broader meanings of democracy. I hope you guys got the exact meaning of, broader meaning of democracy. Now let us try to answer the quiz question. First question, democracy beyond government applies to option A, families, option B, schools, option C, organization, option D, all of this. Question number 2, which is not a democratic value? Option A, justice, option B, equality, option C, freedom, option D, bias. Please do comment down the answer in the comment section. You can also answer for the question, how can schools practice democracy in their day-to-day functioning? Students, our next important topic is features of democracy. Democracy can be identified through some essential features. A true democracy must have these important features. For example, major decisions elected by the leaders, free and fair electoral competition, one person, one vote, one value, rule of law and protection of right. If even one of this is missing, democracy is weak. Now let us study each one of them individually. The first feature of democracy is major decisions by elected leaders. In a democracy, the major decisions must be taken by leaders who are elected by the people. Let's say, for example, people vote. The leaders get elected. Those leaders, they make the important decision. For example, if you have to understand the process, step 1, citizens will vote. They choose their representatives. Step 2, the winning candidates, they form the government. Then they take the responsibility. Step 3, the elected government makes laws, policies, development plans, decisions are made, and these decisions affect the citizens. Step 4, there is a question of accountability. Now leaders must answer to the people, correct? So if they fail, citizens can remove them. Students, this ensures that power remains with the people. Example, in India, For example, parliament, state assemblies, local bodies, all these institutions make important decisions. Remember, unelected bodies should not dominate elected leaders. Okay, so this is the very first feature of our democracy, that is, major decisions are done by the elected leaders. Now let us try to understand the second feature of democracy, that is free and fair electoral competition. Elections must be free and fair. Elections are the heart of democracy, but elections alone are not enough. They must be genuine. So let us try to understand what is this free elections is all about. Citizens must vote without any fear. There should be no pressure. There should be no threats. People should vote freely. That is all about free election. Now, what is this fair competition? All political parties must compete equally. So, there is no unfair advantage. Competition must be fair. So, we have a multi-party system, meaning a healthy democracy has multiple parties. Citizens should have real choices, correct? So, more options mean better democracy. There is always a peaceful transfer of power. If the ruling party loses, the power must transfer peacefully. There is no violence. So, this is the sign of true democracy. So, then let us try to understand what makes election unfair. So, sometimes the election becomes unfair because voters' intimidation, booth capturing, money power, fake news, right? So because of all these issues, sometimes the elections become unfair, and this weakens the democracy. That is why strong institutions are needed. Example, there is an institution called India's Election Commission. Yes, so it ensures that free and fair elections are happening in India. Now let us try to understand the next feature of democracy, that is one person, one vote, one value. This is a very powerful democratic principle. What does this mean? Every adult citizen has exactly one vote, right? And every vote has equal value. For example, no one is more important at voting time. A rich businessman gets one vote. Same way, a poor farmer also gets one vote. Equal value, right? So that is what is democracy, and this is what is called as universal adult franchise. So in India, every adult citizen, whoever has completed the age of 18 and above, has the voting rights, and this is also called universal adult franchise. So there is no discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, gender, wealth, as well as education. Everyone gets equal voting rights. This ensures that equality in democracy is being given to all the citizens, and this is also one of the very important feature of democracy. Now let us try to understand the next feature of democracy, that is rule of law and protection of rights. What is this rule of law? This is one of the most important feature. Simple meaning is no one is above the law, not even the government. Everyone must follow the law. For example, government must work within the constitution. It cannot violate rights. The rights are always protected. Citizens have fundamental rights. For example, right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, right? So these rights protect the citizens. So who ensures justice for them? Courts ensure justice. So courts play a very, very important role. So an independent judiciary protects these rights. For example, Supreme Court, High Court, District Court, and even the public interest litigation allows the citizens to seek justice. So these institutions protect democracy. So the law applies equally to everyone, rich or poor, powerful or ordinary. Everyone is equal before the law. This is what is the feature of democracy is all about. That is called true democracy. So you might wonder why rule of law matters. What happens if rule is not followed? Obviously, if the rules are not followed, there is chaos everywhere. There is unfairness. There is an abuse of power. That is why rule of law is very, very essential. Without it, democracy becomes weak. And this completes the features of democracy. And you can expect it in the examination. Briefly explain the features of democracy. Now let us try to answer a few quiz questions on features of democracy. Question number 1. Democracy requires option A, free elections, option B, one party rule, option C, military rule, option D, no voting. Question number 2, one person, one vote means option A, equal voting rights, option B, rich people vote more, option C, leaders decide votes, option D, unequal voting. Please do comment down the answers in the comment section, and you can also try to answer why is rule of law important in democracy, what happens when it is absent. Now let's try to move towards the next topic, that is Roots of democracy in India. Many people think democracy is a modern idea, but did democracy begin only recently in India? Obviously, no. India has deep democratic roots dating back to ancient times. Long before modern democracy, India had institutions where people participated in governance. Now, let us study the ancient roots of democracy in India. And you can expect this question for 3 marks, where the question can be asked as briefly explain the ancient roots of democracy in India. So, we will be studying in depth about Sabha, Samiti, Ganas, as well as village assemblies. Now let us try to understand all this ancient democratic institutions of India individually, starting with Sabha. Sabha is also called as Assembly of Elders, and wise people. The role of Sabha is they discuss important matters, they advise the rulers, they suggest policies, they played an important role in governance. Then we have Samiti, which is also referred as People's Assembly. Samiti was the People's Assembly. It represented the broader population. The important role Samiti played is they used to discuss the public matters, they used to participate in governance, they used to elect or remove kings. Samiti was more democratic than Sabha. Okay. Next, we have Ganas. Ganas were republican assemblies. These were self-governing communities. So here the decisions were collective, the members used to take part, as well as the powers was shared. This reflected democratic ideas. Followed by which we had village assemblies. So village assemblies handled local administration, which can also be referred as local self-government. They managed village affairs, local disputes, resource distribution, all these things. This became the foundation for the modern local governance, which we call in today's modern India Panchayati Raj. Democratic thinking existed in India long ago. So for example, we have Lichavi Republic, the modern day in Bihar and Nepal, is considered one of the world's earliest republics predating ancient Greek democracy. Let us answer the 2 quiz questions based on the roots of democracy in India. The first question, Sabha refers to option A, Elders Assembly, option B, Parliament, option C, Court, option D, Army. The second question, Samiti means option A, Local Tax Office, option B, People's Assembly, option C, Military Council, option D, Bank. Please do comment down the answer in the comment section and try to also answer how did ancient democratic institutions like Sabha and Samiti influence the development of modern Indian democracy. Let's move towards the very important topic of this chapter, that is types of democracy. Actually, in general, there are mainly 2 types of democracy, and this is a very important question which can be asked for 2 marks question. Differentiate or distinguish between direct democracy and indirect democracy. Please do remember, indirect democracy is also referred as representative democracy. So let us try to understand what is this direct democracy. In direct democracy, the citizens directly participate in decision making. There is no representatives, people themselves decide. For example, village meetings, public consultations. For example, in ancient Athens, the features are there is a direct participation, there is equal voice, and there is no involvement of middleman. There is an advantage as well as disadvantage in direct democracy. The advantage is there is true representation and there is greater participation, whereas disadvantages is it is difficult to be conducted in large countries and it is also time consuming. So direct democracy works best in small communities. Please keep this in mind, and it is also called as pure democracy. Now let us try to understand what is this indirect democracy, and it is the second type of democracy. This is most common form in today's life. So here the citizens elect representatives. Representatives govern on behalf of the citizens. For example, we have this system followed in countries India, USA, UK, Canada. The system works well in large countries. Direct democracy is difficult in countries with huge population because India has over 140 crore people. Direct democracy is impractical. That is why India also follows representative democracy. And this is a very solid question which can be asked for 2 marks, where you are requested to write the difference between direct democracy and indirect democracy. Now, these are the few points which you can mention, the advantages and disadvantages and the example for direct democracy. Similarly, we have for indirect democracy also the key features of indirect democracy and the comparison between direct and indirect democracy. Now, and our next topic is under representative democracy, we have two important forms of democracy. One is parliamentary form and one more is presidential form. Please do take a screenshot of this, and this is very important question for your examination for 5 marks. So let us try to understand first parliamentary system followed by presidential system. In parliamentary system, Prime Minister is the head of the government and President is the constitutional head, that is head of the state. Here executive is a part of legislature, and when it comes to accountability, Prime Minister is accountable to Parliament, and in parliamentary system the removal process is through the vote of no confidence. With respect to term, there is no fixed term, it always depends on majority. And examples for parliamentary system is India, UK, Canada and Australia. And when it comes to stability, it can become unstable if there is a coalition government which got elected. Now let us try to understand about presidential system. In presidential system, the president is both the head of the state as well as head of the government. It is the same person. And when it comes to executive and legislature, there is a strict separation of powers, meaning both executive and legislature are independent to each other, unlike in parliamentary system where they are interdependent. And when it comes to accountability, here the president is accountable to the voters, and president can be removed through a process called impeachment. And when it comes to tenure or the term, there is a fixed term. And example for presidential system is USA, Brazil and Mexico. And when it comes to stability, presidential system is more stable because it has fixed term. As of today, India follows the parliamentary system inherited from the British rule, and the President of India is the constitutional head, but real power lies with the Prime Minister and Cabinet. Let us try to answer the quiz question on types of democracy. First question: direct democracy works best in option A, large countries, option B, small communities, option C, big cities, option D, states. Second question: India follows direct democracy, presidential system, parliamentary democracy, dictatorship. Please do comment down the answer in the comment section, and you can also try to answer why is representative democracy more suitable for a large and diverse country like India than direct democracy. Our next topic is democratic systems in the world. Now let us try to understand the various democratic systems in the world. So in India, we have parliamentary democracy. The key feature is the Prime Minister leads the government, whereas the President is the constitutional head. And in USA, the system of democracy is presidential democracy, and the key feature is President is both the head of the state and the government. In France, the system of government is semi-presidential. The key feature is President and Prime Minister, both of them share the executive power. In United Kingdom, the system is parliamentary monarchy, where the key feature is constitutional monarchy with elected parliament is there. And in Canada, the system followed is constitutional monarchy. Here, the key feature is the king or the queen serves as the head of the state, whereas the prime minister leads the government. And in Russia, the system of democracy followed is federal democracy. The key feature is here the federal structure with strong presidential powers can be seen. And these are the various democratic systems followed in the world. And the common democratic values is there are free elections, there is a rule of law, and there is also a fundamental rights. Now we are towards the end of the chapter, and our last topic is challenges to democracy in India. As we already learned that democracy is not the perfect form of government, correct? So we do have challenges in it. So let us discuss whether democracy is 100% perfect. If not, why? First challenge is social inequality. There is always a difference in caste and class which reduces equality. Not everyone gets equal opportunity. So this is the first major setback or challenge to democracy in India. And the second challenge is illiteracy and low awareness. Many citizens still lack awareness. This affects decision making. Easily, because of illiteracy, few people can be manipulated and they end up voting up a wrong candidate in the process of election. Then the next major challenge is corruption. Corruption weakens the trust in democracy and it reduces the transparency and fairness in democracy. Public resources are misused and it weakens trust in democracy. Then we have casteism and communalism. Voting based on caste or religion weakens democracy and leaders should be chosen based on merit and policies, not on the basis of caste and religion. Then we have limited participation. Sometimes women's, minorities as well as marginalized groups, so they do not get equal participation and this also weakens the democracy. Then we have at last money power in election. Wealthy candidates may influence elections unfairly. So this affects equality. So these are the various challenges to democracy in India. And question can be asked, briefly explain the various challenges to democracy in India for 3 marks. Now let us try to answer the MCQ on the last topic. Question number 1. Which of the following weakens democracy? Option A, equality. Option B, awareness. Option C, corruption. Option D, participation. Question number 2. Limited participation means option A, active citizenship. Option B, only voting during election. Option C, equal rights. Option D, better governance. You can also comment down the answer in the comment section. Suggest 2 concrete ways to strengthen democracy in India. Now, there are few ways how we can strengthen democracy. So, democracy becomes strong when citizens and institutions work together. The first step, what we can do is we can increase awareness, meaning citizens must know what are their fundamental rights, fundamental duties, what are the democratic values, because education is essential. The second step is we can promote equality. Equal opportunities must be ensured. Everyone should get fair treatment. And the third step what we can follow is we can encourage participation. More people should participate in voting, discussion, governance, and active citizens strengthen democracy more. The next step is we have to protect our rights. Rights and freedoms must be protected. The strong institutions are necessary. For example, judiciary, election commission, etc. Then we should try to reduce corruption. So, transparency and accountability are important. Corruption must be reduced. This improves democracy. Overall, so we have to ensure that to strengthen democracy, we have to increase awareness, promote equality, encourage participation, protect rights, as well as reduce corruption. Finally, we are towards the end of the chapter. So let us try to revise the complete chapter. Firstly, we studied meaning of democracy, government of the people, by the people and for the people. Then we studied the features of democracy, elections, rule of law, equal vote and elected leaders. Then we studied different types of democracy, direct democracy versus indirect, which is also called as representative democracy. Then we also studied the ancient roots of democracy in India, Sabha, Samiti, Ganas, village assemblies. Then finally we learnt about the challenges of democracy, inequality, corruption, casteism, illiteracy. So democracy becomes stronger when citizens participate actively. So we have completed this chapter successfully. Students, democracy is not just a political system, it is a way of life. It teaches us equality, freedom, justice, participation. Remember one powerful line. Democracy becomes stronger when citizens participate actively. You are not just future voters, you are future responsible citizens. Your awareness, your voice, and your action matters. Thank you students for watching the video. Thank you for learning with us today. I hope this helped you understand democracy clearly. If yes, please do like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe for more social science lessons, and turn on the notification bell. Knowledge shared is knowledge multiplied. Keep learning, keep growing. This is your social science channel, Learn Social with Ram. This is Ram signing off. Jai Hind. Thank you all.